We will now look at yet another philosophy to education, which is postmodernism. But before we look at postmodernism, let us just briefly focus on what modernism is. Modernism has to do with God, reason, and progress. We still believe in God. We, however, also believe that there is reasoning that a human being does and a human being needs to progress. Progress is based upon knowledge, and man is capable of discerning objective absolute truths in science and the arts. So the modernists believe that religion is important, but they also believe that looking at science and the arts, looking at truths beyond just the religious books is also important. Modernism is linked to capitalism, progressive economic administration of the world. Now, if we wonder, when did modernism begin? Modernism began, if you're familiar with world history, with the Renaissance in Europe, and lasted till about World War I and World War II. This modernistic era is seen as a time when things changed. Literature changed, art changed, films changed, science changed, and all this progress seemed to develop during that time. It was a time when the church separated from the politics in Europe, and that's why it is known as the modern era or modernism. And modernism of third world countries today is unfortunately linked to the imposition of Western values. We have our own Eastern values and we don't need to give them up. But modernism, our young people see modernism as what they see portrayed in the West. That trend will need to change. We have our own Eastern values. They are in many aspects better than a lot of Western values, and therefore we need to hold on to them. We cannot give them up completely. Then, language and truth. People are the same everywhere, except of course that they speak different languages. But human beings are human beings. They may be a different color, different creed, different race, different religion, but they are still human beings. There are universal laws and truths. All cultures, all nations, all peoples practice the same truths and practice the same universal laws. These are accepted everywhere. Knowledge is objective, independent of culture or gender. Knowledge should be taken for knowledge, not you are a woman and you cannot study physics. That's not right. Knowledge is knowledge. It should be open to anyone who's interested, and it should be independent of a culture. So we should be looking at world history and world geography and world literature and so on and so forth, in addition to looking at our own, especially today as the world shrinks to a global village scenario. Language is a man-made tool that refers to real things and truths. Now, we developed language, human beings did, okay? And because we've developed language, we make languages appear as tools to communicate. And that is what we do with language. We communicate verbally or orally or in writing. But whichever way we communicate, language is language and will be open to all peoples everywhere. And that is why people learn other languages, to get first-hand information of what something else is happening in some other part of the world. I have a discernible self, which means I'm unique. That's what modernism teaches. I'm unique, I'm different, there is nobody like me. I don't have to study exactly the same things everybody else does. I don't have to behave in exactly the same way as everybody else does. Because I'm unique, the self, me, is the center of my existence. Everything else revolves around me. I am the center, and modernism focuses on that self.